That's not a bad place to be.
And we're live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. Thanks for telling me, Yolanda. And we're live. Yes, we are. It's normally Aprylete Day. She's unable to join us today. So Yolanda Starks White is here with us. And hey, yo.
Hey, Sybil, and want you to remember that I am always here with you and for you.
You know what? You really are.
Yep.
You really
Remember
are.
that.
Never forget. Never forget. Um, We've had, I can't say it's been a relaxing day, but it's been a lovely day. We went for lunch with your nephew Don, and good food. It made me, and now I'm hungry again. I heard somebody cooking, and I'm like, ooh, that was good stuff. Sorry, I needed some coffee. So normally here on the What You Need to Know newsletter part of this, we talk about the things that our contributors have written, and we talk about other issues in the newsletter. So just to kind of let people know, we are in Atlanta. We did some good work yesterday, I think, with our foundation, the HBCU Bridge, and with the Sports Video Group, SVG. And what we attempt to do is to expose young people from HBCUs about all of the things that are available through programming, through video and sports programming. It's not just who's in front of the camera, or as I've said, who has the camera on their shoulder. There's so much more, and and I hope that as this thing really gets ramped up, that young people will take advantage of the opportunities that are available to them, because there's a lot of knowledge. There are some really, it's not a groundswell of people of color who are in this business, but there are a lot of good people with a lot of good information, and they just want to share it. And it's really up to the young people to decide whether they want to hear it or not. And I hesitate to say this, so I won't. Okay, I won't say that. But um,
Uh-oh.
do know that
You have to text me.
but do know that I am a part of a group of people who really want to see our young people succeed, and to open them up to possibilities of jobs and lifestyles that they never thought existed. And I hope that when we are inviting people to come to do this, and I know this is in the summer break, and a lot of people have gone home and things like that, and aren't able to travel back to Atlanta, which is the mecca for a lot of folks as far as HBCUs are concerned. But it is a really good opportunity for us to meet, and I hope we'll can be able to continue to do this for the foreseeable future. What do you think?
Well, I think that, well, first of all, I think that this program that we offer is really amazing. And yesterday, from being in the on the panel that we were for SVG,
Hmm.
I knew that there were a lot of jobs out there because it's what we do, but to really have a conversation about it, and I think I want to be an engineer now.
Well, you are an engineer of sorts, because if nothing else, you know how to figure things out. And one of the things that we heard from those that are in, and these aren't people who went to engineering school, they didn't get an engineering
Right.
degree, because there's more to engineering than what we know
We
from
should
our.
call it something else because engineering, because when he said that, that's what clicked to me. When he said, I'm not an engineer, I don't have a degree in engineering, that clicked. And I was like, hmm, but you're an engineer. But it's not how we traditionally think of engineers. That's all
Right.
I'm saying.
Right. And it is one of the gentlemen who has a company in New Hampshire. I know New Hampshire and Black people, but it's fascinating to hear his story and how he got into it. And he wanted to be a documentarian,
Right.
and he was working at a PBS station, and his boss took him to lunch. Now the story is becoming lore. He took him to lunch and fired him, and told him that what he was doing for this station was not working,
Right.
and because
He was a
funds and
producer.
Yeah, producer, and
Yep.
his dream is to make documentaries.
Right.
But his boss said, the funding and all of this other thing. He said, but I want you to consider this. Consider getting into engineering, getting into the technical side of things. And he was a tinkerer. He knew how to, there's a joke in well, it used to be in the old days in radio, that there's a mound of equipment behind an old studio, and sometimes one of the radio stations where I first worked, it was an old studio out in the middle of nowhere, and behind that studio there's a mound of old equipment, and that's where old equipment went to stop and went to die, because you didn't
Right.
know anybody who know how
Right.
to
Right.
fix it and to
Right.
to rehab it and to refurbish, as they say now, and make it work again. You're one of those people. You can figure stuff out. You can figure stuff out. And we have a wonderful technical producer. Chica is one of those people who can figure stuff out. Yolanda is one of those people who can figure stuff out. I'm like, I don't know. This is my phone. It's not working. I don't know what to tell you. But you could be an engineer, and I think Chica is an engineer, in the fact that if something doesn't work, you're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna call somebody. I'm gonna call
So
you guys,
that's what an engineer does. An engineer fix stuff, figure stuff out.
and can put the equipment that is needed, and help them facilitate the production of a broadcast facility. A lot of the things that we talked about yesterday was the trucks,
Hmm.
the TV production trucks that you see when they have a major broadcast in your town, in your school town, and that's where all of the work goes,
Right.
in this truck, with the director and the technical and all of the audio people, and that goes back to the main frame, the studio, if you will.
Right.
So an engineer will not only, in many respects, an engineer will tell you, well, here's the equipment that you need, and work with a budget and how to place it and what goes where and things like that, and teach the people who will be working this equipment how to use it to their best ability.
Right.
And I think that you have the ability to explain this, and Chica does too. I mean, even when we have technical difficulties, and Chica will be on the phone with a guest and tell people, now here's what you need to do.
Very
And
patient, very calm, very
right,
soothing.
right. And meanwhile, we're going like this, man,
Right.
and she just keeps it, steady, and in that sweet childlike voice of hers. So,
Right.
it's really interesting to see what's going on, and the things that are available to us.
Right.
I never wanted to be on TV. I always like being behind the microphone, but in a different way. I'm in front of the microphone, but behind the scenes kind of person. And other people, they want to be in front of the camera, but you don't know what else is available. And the more you know,
Yes.
the more valuable you're going to be in this
Yep.
business.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah,
In any
so
business. Yep.
yeah, yeah, that's for sure, for
Yep.
sure. So, that's why I agree with you that you will be a good technical person. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely, an engineering type person, because you have that mind. I mean, the family joke is that Yolanda can land a 747.
Yep. I'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
right, right.
Yep.
So let's talk about the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday, in which we curate stories and bring them to you, talking about everything from politics to health to Black fitness and Black and fit, as well as LGBTQ plus items and stories, and the mental health and wellness part of all of this. And I mentioned that our mental health and wellness contributor is Aprylete Russell, and she is unable to join us today. So let's talk about her story, in which she asked, why hasn't Tennessee spent $250 million set aside for mental health? $250 million set aside by the state of Tennessee. Governor Bill Lee pushed for and won $250 million trust fund to finance mental health programs for Tennessee's children. But for now, that money sits in the bank, according to the story, that the state's children have increasingly been suffering from mental health issues as a result of this, and such as depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation. So, what's the state waiting for? According to those that know and have some information, it's a trust fund, and it's not a bank account. According to 2021 legislation creating the fund, $225 million of it was to be permanently set aside as an endowment. And so the remaining 25 million was immediately available for K through 12 mental health programs, and it has not yet been used for any such purpose. Well, certainly we know that there is a necessity for mental health programs in the state of Tennessee. If you'll remember, it was not too long ago that a not well young woman went into a Christian school that she once attended, and she killed children and teachers, and the building superintendent, the headmistress of the school, and a man who was the building and ground superintendent. So she had mental illness that her parents, were trying to figure out how to help her. And imagine what these children who experienced this, they, had to go into hiding to avoid this young woman who was prowling the halls looking for more victims. This is this is where the money is needed. And if $25 million, I don't know how far that'll go, but if $25 million is available, use it.
So my first question is, I heard you say that he wanted. Where did the money come from? Oh, out of what trust fund? Where did not that matters. I'm just
Right.
curious.
He proposed the trust fund as a part of. I missed that part. I'm not finding it. Um, but I don't know. It's the Tennessee
Okay,
Treasury
that doesn't matter. That doesn't
person.
matter. That was
Came out of the Tennessee Treasury.
okay. That was the side. So my question is, so Sybil, as you know from living with me every day, my number one concern in this country is mental illness,
Hmm.
and that we can visibly see more and more mental ill people around us.
Right.
I am quite offended when people call people crazy, because I just don't know what that means. That's just such a throwaway, a really discounting what somebody is experiencing
Right.
word. But even if they had $25 million, I'm always quick to say we need to do something. Something needs to be done. They need to do something. If they decided to spend the $25 million, what are they going to spend it on? How are they going to use it? What is it going to look like? Because to say that it's $25 million and they need to use it, or however much it is, to just blindly say it, that I don't agree with.
I don't say, I'm not saying throw good money after bad. You've had enough time to come up with a program, with a plan. Immediately there was, oh, it has to do with mental health. It's not with the kind of guns that are available to people. There's been a plan. There's been enough time for them to develop a plan, to at least initiate a trial program. Let's just start somewhere.
Yeah, because you got to start somewhere,
Right.
I would just be curious. I would just be curious to see what that means, what that looks like, who has. So I would love to be a part of a discussion to see what are the different ideas and or options for people to utilize and access that money.
Right. Right. I get it. I get it. It's
Hold on,
just
Sybil.
Shirley Ann, Tony Davis, their plan is to grift the money from the people. You know what? That amount of skepticism and sarcasm it's not foreign to us.
Oh, 100%. Shirley Ann, I thought that was funny. Okay.
Um, he won this trust. According to the Tennessean, the governor fought for and won $250 million trust fund to finance the mental health programs for Tennessee's children. And the mental health providers that gave this money were going to in short supply in the state of Tennessee and around the country. They said that there's legislation that created the fund, 225 million permanently set aside, and so it sounds like it is coming out of the state treasury. And
Gotcha.
Shirley Ann says, and she said, it's just a way for them to say, "Oh, we have this money." Well, darn it, what are you doing with it?
Well, I say don't do nothing with it until you have a plan.
Okay, so how much time are you willing to give them? You've developed plans in less than 6 months.
Yeah, let's say 6 months. Let's get a committee and
Oh
let's.
no, not a committee. I'm
Okay,
kidding.
you're right.
I'm kidding.
Okay, you're right. I don't know. I don't have an answer. I just know that it needs to be addressed. I know that it needs to be fixed. I don't have any answers. I don't know.
And here's the thing: for the amount of time that this trust fund has already been in existence, and the overall trust fund has already earned almost $2 million in interest.
So how long has it been on hold? How long have
But
they had it?
they agreed to this in June of 2022, so we're coming up
Wow.
on a year.
So it hasn't been. So wait. So what you trying to tell me is, if I had $25 million, that I could make $2 million in 1 year just off of the interest.
Interest, yeah.
God, dog. Okay.
Yeah. So and while we're at it, let's talk about going and checking out the banks and their interest rates while they're still higher than they were. Because the 3 or 4% most of us get in our banks, which is higher than it was this time last year. That's not enough.
Right.
But $1.7 million. They
Wow.
anticipate the department will issue grant announcements up to $8.75 million over the next year in the
Wow.
school safety bill that the governor initiated. So,
Wow.
um, and Tennessee is one of those states. I hope that some of that money is given in the districts of the Tennessee Three. Remember the
Right.
Tennessee Three?
Right.
Those two black men, two black legislators, and one white woman who was not suspended or kicked out, expelled from the state legislature. But I hope that it will go to their districts because they have been fighting valiantly for the people of their state and of their district. So,
Well, I'm gonna tell
uh,
you like you tell your people. Stay on top of that and keep us informed on what that.
I'm going to send that note to Aprylete
Okay.
and see because the story. I mean, it sounds good, but there's still like have good questions regarding that. And I wish we had asked her that before we put the story out there. By the way, Coy Malone in her social justice piece tells a horrible story of a black man who died in prison after being denied his heart medication. 54-year-old black man by the name of Dexter Berry received a heart transplant in October 2020, required him to take daily medications to prevent his body from rejecting his new heart. In November, a neighbor in Jacksonville, Florida, called 911 and reported that Mr. Berry allegedly threatened to beat him up over a disagreement about Wi-Fi access. So he was arrested and was taken into custody. And while he was in custody, he was denied his heart medication.
Wow.
The rejection took place, and he subsequently died. And his family and the family's lawyer believes that officials did not want to pay for his medication. And in the court transcript from his bond hearing, he stated that a 30-day supply of his transplant medication usually costs $2,400, and they would rather risk death over a business decision. And so it could be Duval County, it could be the city of Jacksonville, it could be the police department, it could be any number of municipal departments that will pay the price for this man not getting his $2,400 in heart transplant anti-rejection medicine.
Wow. That is a horrible story.
Just awful. I got more.
I'm sure.
I did a story about a shooting that people are scratching their heads over in Columbia, South Carolina, and it happened over the weekend. An Asian man owned a convenience store and a gas station in Richland County, and in and around Columbia. A black teenager, a 14-year-old boy who had just graduated from the eighth grade. I want to give you this picture. A 14-year-old boy just graduated from the eighth grade. Days later, he's in this convenience store. He's getting several bottles of water. They say 4 bottles of water. He thought better of it. He put the bottles down and left the store. The owner and his son believed that he was shoplifting, and they chased behind him. He started to run. He fell. He got up again. And as he got up, the son told the father he has a gun. And
Oh my God.
the father had his gun, and he shot him in the back, killing the 14-year-old boy.
Wow. One shot?
One shot. But it did so much damage to his body, heart and other vital organs in his body. And the store owner has been arrested. He's been charged with murder, and people are wondering what provoked you to shoot this kid over some water.
Has he given a statement?
The only statement that he gave is that let me see if I can find this. He's accused of chasing him, and he said, my son pointed out that he was running, that he had a gun. I pointed the gun and I shot. 59-year-old Rich Chow accused the African-American teenager of stealing several bottles of water. The sheriff said that there's no evidence that anything was stolen. There was a gun found in the vicinity of this boy's body, but as of yesterday, there was no indication that this was his gun. There was a gun in the vicinity.
What does that mean? There's a gun in the vicinity
of where his body was found. So it could have been his gun. It could have been the kid's gun, but they said that he did not pull it. He was running, and apparently for his life. 14 years old, and they show a picture of this kid, and he looks like he could have been this man's grandson.
Right.
He's black, but he has Asian features, and he's just so cute.
Oh,
just so cute. And if you all did any kind of graduation ceremonies this week, and you saw kids that it was very funny because we were at one graduation on Friday, and there were kids who had full beards graduating from high school. I was like, wow, where do these kids come from? We had one kid in our class who had a full beard, but he had to shave because they didn't allow that.
Oh, wow.
But just think about this. Any one of those boys, if you went to a middle school, an 8th grade graduation, any one of those boys could have been this kid.
Yeah, I just had a niece that just graduated from the 8th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know the discussions that parents have, but please think about this. Please. Right. I don't know how you prepare your child for this. And like you say, you don't want to have your child live in fear.
Right.
But that's where we are.
Yeah.
Is that fair to our children?
I was thinking about the conversation you and I was having yesterday regarding this. I just don't know, how do you prepare your child to go into a store and walk out and be shot? Mm-hmm. You can say be careful, but how are you careful? What does that mean?
Right.
I mean, what more careful could you be to walk into a store and walk out?
Right.
Because you got to go into a store.
You have to.
So I don't
I mean,
know.
he could have looked at it and said, I'm not paying $5 a bottle for some water,
Right.
and put it down. I have been accused of shoplifting, and I was the back in the day when you would type your term papers. Um, I had an electric typewriter, and it had cartridges that you put in for the ribbon, right? And I'd run out of the cartridges. I was in the middle of finishing up. I think it was my senior year of college, and I went to Walgreens, the drugstore, and they had something. I thought, maybe I can fudge it. Maybe I can. I couldn't figure it out like you and Chica could, but I was thinking I was desperate enough that maybe I could use this. And as I'm walking towards the cashier, I was like, I can't. I don't have it. I got to find someplace else to find this cartridge for a Smith Corona. That's how far back it goes. But
Wow.
anyway, I just tossed it to the side, and these cops followed me out of the Walgreens to my car and accused me of shoplifting. And I said, I didn't. Yeah, we saw you and pick it up. Where is it? And I said, I'll tell you where it is. I left it on the uh, table where all the cheap candy is. And he said, go and check. And sure enough, that's where it was. And they let me go. But they didn't do to me what they do to young black people now, on the ground and hands behind your back and things like that. But it was in a white suburban area where went to look for this. And I've been like I said, I've been there, but I I I didn't have the presence of mind. I was 19 years old, a senior in college, and I didn't have the presence of mind to run. That wasn't, but because I knew that I was in the right. If I had stolen it, then I might be running.
Right.
But having been in that situation, that's frightening.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the relationship was with, and here's the point that I made. Not what we tell our children, because that was the discussion we started to have yesterday, you and I, Yolanda. But this is something that the friction between the African American community and the Asian American community is horrible in
So
most
that's what I was
respects.
going to ask you. So this, from your reporting, was it a neighborhood store?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a neighborhood store. So was this young man a part of that neighborhood, or was he visiting?
Now that part I don't know, but they did have, there were some protest groups that had something on Monday following this boy's murder, and it fell into vandalism of the store, and saying, and people were protesting how they were treated in this store by the store owner.
Gotcha.
And so they broke in to the store, and they, stole. And the sheriff's like, what does being accused of stealing water have to do with people breaking in and stealing beer,
Right.
cases of beer? That doesn't make any sense. But the I think the focus has to be on, getting along in our communities,
Yeah.
because that's where we have to go in many cases.
Well, there's a lot of comments that are telling us, when I say what do we do, the comments are, don't support them. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, there's our friend Roughhouse.
Hey,
Stop going
Raquel.
in their stores. We need our own. And CM Williams on Facebook, Black America, stop supporting these Asian stores in your neighborhood. They don't respect you. Well, I got to tell you, when we need hair care products in the middle of the day or at night, um, you're not going to go to finding a Black owned beauty supply store is is one of those very rare opportunities
And
to
you are not going to get these in your neighborhood, Sybil.
um
These are only found in the hood.
and in your pocket. Yes, as a grown woman who lives by those things. But yeah, there are a lot of things, and there's certain types of pop soda that we get that we can only find there. We can't find it at Tom Thumb or Jewel, or wherever you go. It just isn't. And some of these things are cheaper. They can afford to do it, sell it cheaper, but we we really do need to support our own. But in this case, I'm not sure what the answer is,
Right.
and maybe that is the answer, to support our own in those communities. And when they come, don't steal from them. We go in, we buy our gas, and the gas is often more expensive, and and we got lean pockets in a lot of cases. It's just uh
Okay, so
I'm looking.
that was 3 stories.
I know.
You
I
did
know. I'm looking at the time. I know.
Aprylete story, you did
Hmm.
Coy's story, you did your story, and all
Hmm.
of them at the end we say, I don't
I
know
don't
what to
know. I don't know what to tell you.
tell you.
And that's the really frustrating
I
thing
bet, oh
about
my
it.
goodness.
That's why I don't sleep at night, Yolanda.
Wow. See why
All of these things are
I
begging the
meditate?
question.
Mm.
Maybe that and a beer. Maybe, a glass of wine. A glass of wine.
Whatever
Maybe.
gets you through it. Whatever gets you through it.
Right now I'm thinking, this coffee is good for right now. It's kind of, amping, but I'm really thinking a vodka tonic right about now might be the answer to help kind of smooth out the edges as I go into the rest of this day. I don't know. Alcohol is not the answer. I know that. I'm making light of this, but
It was funny.
but it's really necessary for I can't keep watching the Hallmark Channel all night.
Right. Well, Sybil, somebody got to let us know what's going on, because
Yeah.
that's not my ministry. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for you.
Well, I appreciate that, and can I also say that I really appreciate the people who we met last week on the cruise
Oh,
who
yeah.
subscribed to the newsletter. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Please pass on the link to the newsletter and subscribe other people to the newsletter and open it when it comes to you every Monday through Friday morning. I'm going to leave you with that. Go to SybilWilkes.com, give us your name and your email address, and we'll have it in your email box first thing in the morning. So thank you very much for that. Yolanda, I want to move on to our question of the day, and this is a result of a conversation that we had. What's going on with graduation celebrations?
I can't have this conversation. You're going to get me in trouble.
Well, maybe we'll get some information from people. Are they all headed to be over the top events? What is it about, especially, well, high school? A lot of kids just aren't capable of walking across the stage,
Right.
shaking somebody's hand, shaking another person's hand, and
Right.
getting their diploma. They gotta, they gotta dance. They gotta, flip. They got. There's some stories that I've seen on the news where children have had physical challenges, and like one kid um, used an exoskeleton that was provided to him in order to walk across the stage.
Wow.
That is a celebration. That's something.
Wow.
But I don't get when you gotta, flip and spin and make me understand that.
Somebody told me that it is culturally.
But I bet you.
Okay. We just gotta be seen. We have to be seen. Why can't we be seen for example, I went to another graduation this weekend.
You went to several celebrations this weekend.
But this at one graduation, it had to be over 500 students in the graduating class. It was a large graduating class.
Which is something else for me.
How many were in your class?
There was 53 in Morgan Park Academy. And I was because I was W, so I was, like number 50.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You had to wait.
I was used to waiting. So I'm sorry. So go ahead.
These kids, so they did the top 10 people, and the lowest of the top 10.
The lowest GPA.
The lowest GPA out of the top 10 students, not the top 10%, the top 10 students. Mm. The lowest one was a 5.3 something.
Jesus.
And those kids were very humble and grateful. And it's like, yeah, when they got their certificate, it was very, they didn't flip over. It was none of that.
Was it a
And
religious school?
no, it's a public school.
Oh, okay.
It was a public school. But one of the kids who did a somersault split asked me what his GPA was.
What do you think it was?
I don't know. I don't know.
The lowest of the top 10. They entered the top 10 with a 5 point something GPA.
Right.
So just imagine how off the scale number one student was.
Right.
I wonder what Keith Ashby's GPA was. Keith was our valedictorian, Dr. Keith Ashby, by the way, in Alexandria, Louisiana. But I wonder what his GPA was. I don't even remember what mine was. But
mine was barely.
But your spade score was much higher.
Okay, all right.
Your spade score was higher, as Stephen Hill would say.
I don't know, Sybil. I guess we are, well, Carolyn, we need more people to help us out. Carolyn Crowley from Facebook said, oh, I think that's beautiful when graduates express themselves. Why you can't express yourself by saying thank you?
Right.
But Miss Carolyn, I know we are all different and we express ourselves differently. I just don't know why we have to be so seen. What is it about us that we have to be seen?
I wonder, because I think not only are high school graduations over the top in the reaction from the families, because this might be their last big hurrah in their life. A lot of them may not be going to college. A number of them may never go to another prom. And so you've got to have the Gulf Wing car, and you've got to have the right shoes and the dress that makes you look like you're way past your prom time. But it's just unbelievable.
Silly.
I have seen young girls go to school on the first day of school looking like they were going to a party. So the clothing thing is still a confusion for me. But everything is just, I think if we just spent more time with our children and helping them, get scholarships or whatever, and that sounds very old and old-fashioned.
But no,
instead of the money to fund a prom with a horse and carriage and an 8 tiny reindeer to take you up into the sky to your prom event, and dresses that look like they should be on your mama going for a good time with your daddy.
Always go back there.
Yeah. Showing parts of your body that nobody should see at 16, 17 years of age.
Well, Sybil, when we look at, to be fair,
and then let me just ask this, am I wrong? Because Miss Carolyn told us she likes to see the expression. So please, share with us your thoughts. Go ahead, Yolanda. I'm sorry.
Well, like I said, we're just very expressive people, because you should see me when I'm whooping ass on a card table.
And I've heard it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are expressive people. And
that's why she never has family that wants to play with her.
Well, because they can't, and they know that. And so, but like Deion Sanders, when Prime was doing his thing, we loved his celebration and we celebrated with him. I'm really conflicted, but he really was great. He really was celebrating greatness. So that's my question.
And so was Emmitt Smith, who took a knee and held the ball out to the umpire or the referee, and that's what he got from his parents.
Well, just different personalities.
Everybody has different ways of expressing
personalities. But I think if that kid who did the somersault and ended with the split, if he would have been one of the 5.7s, I would have been.
Yeah.
So what are you celebrating? That's my question. That's my judgmental question.
And some of us just getting out.
Yeah.
Not high school, because you came out of high school pretty much on fire.
Yeah, yeah, but still.
College was like, because I had to write a letter to the engineering professor saying, "Look, my grandmother's coming. I'm the first child to graduate in my generation. Graduate from college, and the first of her grandchildren, and no telling if she's going to live to see any of the others.
Oh
And
my goodness,
that's
that was good.
because what
Oh,
the
that
hell
was
was I
good.
doing in this engineering class? I told you I don't. I needed a science requirement,
That
and
was good. But see, you worked for it. So,
I wrote. I can write a beautiful letter, and apparently it worked.
all right, here we go.
Dad's girl clothing. We have to be extra, but why? Why? The same reason people can't hold their applause until the end after all the names are called, says Randall Andrews on Facebook. They ask us to, and yet we can't. Taylor on YouTube, emotional maturity.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, yeah.
That's a good question and a good statement there. Tyrone Born on Facebook. If you like that during school, you're going to be like that graduation with a lot of extras, giving everyone something to remember. Couldn't you just write something nice in the yearbook and just
Right.
say, too good to be forgotten? Shirley and Tony Davis on Facebook. I was glad to graduate from high school, left the next day going to college. And I bet Shirley Ann, you just walked across the stage, but she likes the celebration.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Barbara Ferguson, we have been in the back for so long. Some of us see this as a chance to be seen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
Miss Ferguson, that's what I think. Oh wow, listen to this.
Shirley Ann Tony Davis, to keep our students from pulling antics, your diploma was held for months or until they apologized in writing.
Dang.
Wow. Huh? 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 Look what I got. Wow. I like that though.
Yep.
That's really cool. Okay.
Yep.
God bless them.
Yeah.
And I hope that they find the confidence and the emotional maturity, as it was said,
Yeah.
When they graduate from college or technical school or wherever their next stopping point is, when they complete that and they graduate from those institutions, I hope that there will not be all of this. I get it though, because all of the money, all of the blood, sweat, and tears that families put into our students getting into college and out of college, there is a celebration there. High school is tough for a lot of us. High school is very tough, but I'm not sure that it deserves all the bells and whistles and fireworks.
My biggest prayer is that they have something bigger to celebrate in life.
Mm-hmm.
High school graduation.
Right.
That's my
right.
sense.
That's not a stopping point. It's a stop along the way, but it's not a dead stop for most of us. A couple of trending things. The president fell today.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was at. He took a spill this afternoon. He was delivering the address at one of the military academies, and apparently this is karma because they said that he was making a joke about the former president, Donald Trump. And you remember that time he was going down the ropes and he was really holding on for dear life. It was going down. And apparently there was a sandbag that was holding some equipment, and President Biden tripped on that.
So did he trip or did he fall?
He fell. Like, bam.
So this is why this is awful. I fall all the time.
Me too.
I don't want to claim being a klutz, but
I do.
This is going to hurt him. This is going to hurt him.
It's going to hurt him and his campaign because wherever he is, Not so much in this primary season, and however that falls out, whether Marianne Williamson and Robert Kennedy stay in the race or a third party person comes in. Um, Not so much now, but in the fall campaign from like August to November of next year, the Republicans are just going to run roughshod over him with
And I
this.
think I'm just hearing about this, but I think Donald Trump just raised another $1 million off of that.
Probably, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So he did take a spill, and I hope that he's okay. He did, they helped him up and stuff, but he's so fragile anyway. Um, and I worry
So
about him.
you went down Marion Williamson, the Kennedy.
Hmm.
So why not?
Okay, CM, you're right. Kamala,
Okay.
please and thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, God, that would just be a wish come true, a dream come true. And
But
and
but let me tell you what's crazy. That wasn't at the top of your mind. Why not?
Well, no, I wasn't thinking of who would replace him. I was thinking of the campaigns and that
Oh, okay.
are
Okay.
building now
Okay.
to run for the Democratic nomination. Robert Kennedy Jr. and Marianne Williamson. I wasn't thinking of Vice President Harris, taking that. Um, but that would be just a dream come true for her to run for president. And I
So, Sybil,
hope,
did you see the fall?
yeah.
Did he hit his head?
No, he did not appear. It looked like he may have hurt a knee or an arm or a shoulder or something, but he did not hit his head.
Wow.
He had a baseball cap on, so that might have prevented from him from, his forehead hitting the
Oh, I'm so
whatever
sorry,
that
Mr.
it
President.
was.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. But he's fallen off his bike before, but now when you're talking about him being 80 years old,
I
the
can't
bones
imagine
are
my mama falling.
the bones are brittle,
Yeah.
all of the stuff. And the good thing about, I don't know if he has taken yoga, but you do in yoga teach us how to fall.
Right.
And
Right.
that's a big difference.
Wow. Charlotte said,
Charlotte Bowen Bellamy, he landed on that hip. That's what I thought too.
hmm, he got a bad hip.
No, well, you know how we say that hip. He landed on that hip.
Oh,
But
wow. Listen to this.
Dora Levette Tiggs on Facebook, I don't think this will hurt him at all. People fall. Bruce Springsteen, yeah, he did. He fell off the stage a day ago. Yeah. But Bruce Springsteen is not running for the oldest person to ever run for president. He's just not. He's not. He's 70 something years old. Bruce Springsteen is.
But
But
people fall all the time, silly
yeah,
girl.
but they're not running for president.
That's true.
And
Okay.
they're looking for anything to attack
That's right.
him over his age.
Right.
Mm,
Right.
mm, mm.
All right.
It's the first day of hurricane season, yoo-hoo, and a tropical storm could form off of the Florida coast, according to forecasters. They said that winds have reached 39 miles per hour in a tropical depression, and if it does become a hurricane, it will be the first of the season, and that will start with the letter A. And where did I say? Oh, Arlene.
Arlene, yeah.
Arlene.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say that whatever is out there is likely to be short lived and kind of meander around. They don't expect it to really form. But as of about 4:30 Eastern time, the storm is strengthened into a tropical depression. So it's that time. And please be careful out there.
But two things. First of all, I like meandering. It's kind of like what do you do?
La
Sybil? What
la
do
la
you
la
do?
la la la.
What do you do?
I piddle.
Piddle. Yeah, it's kind of
Piddle.
like so it's meandering and fiddling.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not strong. It's not coordinated. It's not with moving with purpose. Like I pick up here and I pick up there and I
Is
meander.
that piddling or is that meandering?
Piddling is I pick up here and I pick up there.
Okay.
Meandering is like walking through the mall. I go over here, look over there.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Sorry, people. This is just how we do. Hey, Sybil, this is great.
Lollygagging around, Ronita Bland. That's Yolanda's word.
Right.
And mulling around.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I piddle and I meander. Yolanda lollygag. She don't like a lot of lollygagging. Get some purpose to your movements there. Condolences to DC Young Fly. This is really sad. His partner, they did not marry, but they shared 3 children. Jackie
Oh
O.
my goodness. What
Yeah.
happened?
She apparently died, according to TMZ. She died in Miami on Wednesday, and there's not a lot of details, but she may have been there to undergo a mommy makeover. She had 3 small children with DC Young Fly, 32 years old. You know her from Wild and Out, and like I said, they've worked together, and she was one of the Wild and Out girls. But yeah, her real name was Jacqueline Smith, and she met in 2015 when the premiere of MTV's hit show, and she was already being featured on one of the shows, Wild and Out Girls, at that point. 3 kids. She had her own business and a lip gloss line called the J Nova Collection. They remained a couple, although they never married, and 3 precious children together. Really sad to hear that. I'm so very sorry for their loss. Oh, this is good news. According to, this is in our entertainment section.
Before you move on, Sybil, can we say Happy Pride Month?
Yes, June 1st, beginning of Pride Month. Happy Pride Month to all of those who observe, and to Quinn and her partner.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. This is good news for Rihanna. She is still the richest female in music. Among the richest self-made women on that list, she is worth, just take a guess how much she's worth.
She's worth $1.4 billion.
Yes, she is. You're
Is
absolutely,
she really?
I promise you. $1.4 billion. You're absolutely right. Absolutely spot on. From her career music as well as her cosmetic line. Taylor Swift is number 2 on the richest women in music. And that is certainly going to grow after her latest tour, which is selling out and, putting parents in the poorhouse trying to get their kids to see.
She's playing it too.
Yeah,
in the rain, and that was another thing that was funny at the graduations. At 2 of the graduations, Taylor Swift was quoted,
referenced, yes,
in the salutatory and valedictorian speeches.
Yep.
Wow. I'm not that familiar with Taylor Swift besides just seeing her. She is really powerful.
She really is. She is a powerful young woman, and she is using her power for good. She really is. I believe she is. And I think you'll start to know her music as one of your nieces gets more into music. Madonna is 3rd on that list. She's said to be worth $580 million.
Madonna's still making money?
Madonna is still out there. And she's making more than Beyonce. Beyonce is $540 million. She's still making music. And I don't know if she's done any touring lately. I know she took some time off to get some work done. No, it's true. They told her it was too soon to come back, by the way. Oprah is still on the self-made women's list with $2.5 billion. She is behind I didn't know this. The Panda Express is co-founded by a woman, Peggy Sharon. She's worth $3.2 billion. And Diane Hendricks of ABC Supply, a company that sells roofing, siding, and windows, is at the top of the list as a self-made woman. $15 billion. I'm going to be on that list when I win the lotto. Not self-made, because it's going to be thanks to winning the lotto. But, yep, that's going to be me. I'm going to be on that list.
Girl, I'm just trying to figure out how to pay this light bill.
I know. But I'm manifesting.
All right, then.
Let's close out with a jewel. Wise people know when to speak, and fools speak all the time. Well, I've done it for the last hour, so there you go. We are in Atlanta, one of the centers of HBCU activity, and it's getting me all excited about the Fall Classic season. Check this out about the HBCU NY Fall Classic. Let's go!
Get ready for an epic showdown on September 16th as Morehouse and Albany State take the field for the Toyota HBCU NY Classic at MetLife Stadium.
Football season is back, and this is the game you can't miss.
Join us for the world's largest HBCU homecoming to experience the thrill of HBCU culture like never before.
Enjoy the ultimate celebration with a pregame tailgate, battle of the bands, and an iconic halftime show.
Don't wait. Get your tickets now at hbcunyclassic.com.
Are we going to that?
Yes.
We're
going to try to go to many homecomings, HBCU games as possible. I'm in.
Okay, absolutely. Absolutely. It's nothing but a good time. And hope to see you all there. Thanks so much for joining us today, for participating in our Girl Talk and Chat here. And we will see you all again next week. Take care.
Right. I love you more than you know, Sybil.
Right back at you.